Well, apparently they're having a devil of a time trying to find someone to run Veterans Affairs. The VA, you might recall, ever since Dr. Ronnie Jackson took himself out of the running, the White House doctor, to head the agency after the prior secretary, David Shulkin, had to resign. They've been coming up blanks right now. The latest names that have been added to the list of possible candidates include two retired generals, Ronnie Hawkins and Michael Ferriter. Add to that the congressman from Florida, Brian Mast, also in the running. Florida Representative Jeff Miller, a Republican, also in the running. Ron Nickel, a senior advisor to the Boston Consulting Group. Now, they, to be fair, are doing their due diligence here. They don't want anything to blow up on their face. But in the meantime, things are blowing up at the VA. And my next guest is right. The president made this a centerpiece of his election to try to correct abuses at the VA, and the fact that so many veterans had to wait for care, sometimes months, sometimes years, that was going to change. Well, if whistleblower Scott Davis is right, it is not changing. He joins us right now exclusively. Scott, very good to have you back. I don't know under these circumstances, but good nevertheless. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Neil. It's good to be back on the program.
All right, let's go first to what you're noticing there, because others dispute what you're saying. But you're saying, with the exception of the so-called crisis hotline, you wait, and you wait a long time still. Is that true?
That is correct. As a matter of fact, The Hill did a report on this just in March that VA had been caught sending false reports about wait times. We know that veterans are still waiting on average longer for care. And this is something that the president talked about fixing when he was running for office.
So you had said that whether the president realizes it or not, and I quote, things have gotten much worse since he took office. You took great care not to blame him, but what did you mean?
Well, I mean that even though he is now the new president, the people who run VA, who were running it into the ground when he was campaigning, are still there. People like Dr. Carolyn Clancy, who was brought in to run VHA 4 years ago during the height of the scandal in 2014. So it's not just enough to change the president or bring in a new secretary. You have to get rid of the people causing the problem. It's like saying we're going to arrest Bernie Sanders, but have the management team, Bernie Madoff, but have the management team from Madoff Securities run the Security and Exchange Commission.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified the Bernie Sanders remark. Anyway, the U.S. Office of Special Counsel, the OSC, as it's known, you say that it also has another role to protect guys like you, whistleblowers, who alert people to a problem like this. But they have done just the opposite, that they've retaliated against you. What do you mean? What have they done?
Well, one of the former managers at the Health Eligibility Center in Atlanta, responsible for the health care backlog, actually filed a complaint against myself and several other whistleblowers, claiming that we illegally accessed their email and or hacked their email account. They said that we violated the Computer Fraud Act, which is a law designed to address cybersecurity issues. This law should have been, violation of the law should have been turned over to DOJ or the Office of the Inspector General. It is my understanding when this particular manager, Angel Lawrence, went to the Office of the Inspector General, they declined to investigate because the charge had no merit. But the Office of the Special Counsel, which is supposed to protect whistleblowers like myself, decided to investigate and turn the matter over to VA, who in turn, Dr. Clancy, who runs the Veterans Health Administration, had the Office of the Medical Inspector conduct a criminal witch hunt against whistleblowers.
All right, they argue with that. I'm going to let you see a VA statement on this investigation claim in which they say, per federal law, the VA is required to investigate and report on all allegations of wrongdoing that OSC refers to the agency. Then an OSC statement on the same, saying that OSC is an independent agency fully dedicated to protecting whistleblowers, and the OSC is required by statute to review all disclosures from current and former federal employees of alleged wrongdoing. I think what they're saying, Scott, is you're the one lying.
Well, here's the fun part, Neil. I have a copy of the affidavit from Angel Lawrence right here, where she identified this as a criminal act. And in that signed statement, she states that she went to the Inspector General. Now, the law says that VA has to say that they looked into the complaint. But what VA should have done when this complaint was given to David Shulkin, the former secretary who was fired, his responsibility was to say that our criminal investigators or investigators in the Inspector General's office looked at this and found it had no merit. What he decided to do was to get with Carolyn Clancy, who's responsible for the current state of the Veterans Health Administration, and have Office of the Medical Inspector investigators look into a matter that they're not even qualified to investigate.
Let me ask you, when David Shulkin was running things there, did he ever talk to you or anyone on his staff talk to you?
I had communications with David Shulkin on numerous occasions, and I even had an exchange with former Secretary Shulkin about this particular manager.
And what did he say? I had
conversations with Peter. He said he would look into it. He was concerned about the issues raised about the profanity-laced tirades from Ms. Lawrence.
All right, but leading the profanity-laced side, and they are, it's pretty nasty stuff. I don't want to get into the weeds with that, Scott. You know this far better than I.
Okay.
But on the charges you were making of a lack of improvement or progress on care for veterans, wait times, et cetera, when Shulkin was there, did he talk to you specifically about that?
We had email exchanges, so we didn't have phone conversations. We had email exchanges. He sent Peter O'Rourke and other people in his staff to communicate with me, and as I told you before, Peter O'Rourke, who is over the Whistleblower Protection Office, met with me on 2 occasions
to
address some of these issues. They took my testimony. I talked to investigators, and nothing's happened. The same corrupt managers are still at the Member Services Office in Atlanta. The same corrupt managers are still running the Veterans Health.
So nothing's changing. But one thing that has changed since you and I last talked is a lot of the duties that you used to have, you don't have. It seems like they're kind of shoving you into a corner. They can't fire you. And I don't know what their intent is, but that a lot of the job duties you had in Atlanta have now gone to others. So it sounds like you don't have a job, but even though you're on the job.
Well, this is a good point. I really don't. I mean, they're pretty much gutted my position.
So why are you still there?
Part of this, because I think they have to make it look good. They have to go through the process of firing me, which that's something they've started. They've escalated hostility towards me ever since
Have they told you that they're beginning the process of having you removed?
Well, they tried to suspend me earlier this year. They did that.
Over what?
So they said I didn't meet with a subordinate level employee who had no right to demand a meeting with me because he wanted me to attend a meeting with him about how he was going to take over my job duties. And I explained to him he had no authority to do that, and I'd be escalating the matter to senior leadership.
Did they ever bring up you talking to the press or to an outside entity, showboating, anything like that?
Yes. During my conversation with the investigators, they mentioned that they wanted to know about my conversations with the press. They wanted to know sources for articles I've written, and they asked me about conversations I had with investigators from the House and Senate Veteran Affairs Committee. But the key of this, Neil, is they've escalated their hostility towards me ever since I started addressing issues about Camp Lejeune and the Marine moms who lost their babies due to the toxic water at Camp Lejeune.